Hi, Mark Pelly here from Visas to Australia. We are a registered migration agency based in Diamond Creek. However, we have offices also in Melbourne, Elsternwick, and we can also drive out to you in this very busy time. Today we're going to be talking about the Subclass 884 Contributory Aged Parent Visa. The Contributory Aged Parent Visa, Subclass 884, is a temporary visa that allows the aged parents of a settled Australian citizen, permanent resident, or eligible New Zealand resident stay temporarily in Australia. You must be in Australia when you apply for this visa. In order to be eligible for this visa, you will need to be sponsored by an eligible sponsor, which is usually your child. If your child is under 18, you can be sponsored by an eligible relative or community organisation. Your sponsorship, however, must be approved by the department. You must be old enough to receive the aged pension in Australia to be eligible for this visa. You cannot have a no further stay condition on your current visa. You must be in Australia to apply for this visa. You also need to meet necessary health and character requirements. You need to sign the Australian Value Statement, meet the Balance of Family Test, and have paid back all debts to the Australian government. You cannot have any previous visas cancelled or refused. The Contributory Aged Parent Visa Subclass 884 allows you to stay for up to 2 years in the country. You need to note that the date which your visa starts is the beginning of the 2 years for which you're allowed to stay in the country. You're eligible to work and study here in Australia, however, you will not be eligible for government benefits. After being here for 2 years in the country, you're eligible to apply for the Contributory Aged Parent Visa Subclass 864, which is a permanent visa application. Speaking more as to what the Subclass 884 Contributory Aged Parent Visa allows you to do, it essentially allows you to spread out the costs of aged parents staying in Australia and moving to the country essentially. The Subclass 864 Permanent Aged Parent Visa application is actually very expensive, and essentially by being in Australia for 2 years first on the temporary visa, it allows you to spread out those costs over time. Again, to clarify, the difference between the Subclass 884, Temporary Contributory Aged Parent Visa, and the Subclass 864, Permanent Aged Parent Visa, is the fact that the 884 is a temporary visa allowing you to stay here for 2 years, while the 864 visa allows you to stay in Australia indefinitely. It is our strong recommendation at Visas to Australia that people considering to bring their aged parents into the country consider first the Subclass 884 Contributory Aged Parent Visa. By applying for the 884 first, which is what this visa is about, or this video is about, it allows you to spread that cost over time. The payment is made in 2 separate stages. There's an initial payment, which is half the cost at the time of application, and then when you're requested to do so, you can actually apply and pay for the second amount when the department asks you to do so. Now, we're not done there with costs, unfortunately. There's an additional assurance of support of about $14,000 per person that's required to be paid by the sponsor of the Subclass 884 Contributory Aged Parent Visa. Now, this money is returned to you after a period of time designated by the Department of Home Affairs. Now, because of the costs involved, this is the kind of visa that you want to get right first time. The Contributory Aged Parent Visa Subclass 884 actually requires a substantial amount of documentation, checks and corrects and balances. You do not want to be in a position where you've applied for the visa, you've just paid in the vicinity of $32,000 and you haven't got your documentation correct. Strongly recommend that you give us a call here at Visas to Australia. Numbers and contact details are in the description below, and we can have a more detailed conversation about how it is that we can help you. Mark here, Registered Migration Agent at Visas to Australia, and look forward to talking to you soon. Stay tuned for our next video, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and look out for the latest information about migration law here in Australia.